RW down in the Mountain Storm workshop, and what we're going to be doing here, me and the mouse in my pocket, we're going to be assembling Poofy Minion's Waterfall Reservoir for PC liquid cooling. It's a 3-bay unit. It's got a double entrainment fall wall. I've prepped all the pieces. Everything's been sized, polished. All the little things that I needed to do have been done. I'm going to start by assembling the back, one side, and the bottom, so I can put everything to it. So this is pretty much the critical part. So I thought it'd be fun to capture it. What the heck, huh? So to ensure that I'm going to get good glue, I'm going to flood just a little bit, just a little flooding action here, to make sure that when these babies go down, they go down wet and beautiful and clear. And then I'm going to make sure that everything is everything. Get my squares up against it, make sure everything's out to the outside wall like it's supposed to be. And I'm going to just lightly tape that, make sure that that's where that's supposed to be. I want everything perfect. We'll hit this seam, and the capillary action will draw it right in between these beautiful pieces of acrylic. If I'm lucky. If I'm not lucky, it'll suck and I'll have to fuck with it, which would be a pain in my ass in the biggest way. Okay, let's see what happened. Got a good seam there. Looks good. Okay. It's as good as it's gonna get. Derp-a-derp-a-doo. Okay, everything is everything. Let those babies do their thing now. While that's happening, I will assemble this unit here, same way, flood alocious. Give it a nice flood, that way I'll get a nice wet joint. Let those set up for a minute. Okay, this baby here, it's going to be about like in this area right here. I just got to make sure it's square across. I have all my tools out here so I can do these things. Make sure everything's going to work out the way I want. And get that squared up against that. Get that squared up against that. And that's a beautiful thing, and we'll just hold that so that it stays where it's supposed to and everything is flush. And it begins to side, and ta-da. No flooding on this one. We'll just creep. We'll do the creep action on this one. Okay, from both sides. Okay. That looks like that laid down real good. Nice wet joint. At this point, I need to pause, and we'll come back and I'll do some more. Alright, so I've laid in a fillet of thickened cement in the bottom like I like to do. It's just something I like to do. And not entirely necessary, but I like to do it. Now I'm going to bond this baby to this baby right now. So it's just one unit right now. Just leave it as one unit. That dry, and I'll do some more stuff to that. So as the glue dries, back to the fun. Got that unit glued up. This one big unit just ready to go right in there. So all I got to do is stick it down. Just watching it creep under it. Gotta hope that's what it does. And what I like to do is very gently just move everything around, not making a giant mess. Okay, that is down. Right, now I'm just going to very gently test fit my other side. Make sure it's going to do what I want. Okay, make sure my top is going to do what it wants. That where I want it. And just see how everything goes together, see if everything's within reason. If I need to do anything. Alright, let's see, is that thing feeling pretty secure? It is. Alright, I think the next piece that I want to deal with here, let's make sure I got a nice angle on this piece. 1 second, guys. I like to put a chamfer on all the edges. Do it again. Wipe. Okay, have another look. As you can see, I've got my recessed port here. I just want this thing just to be perfect, you know? That's the deal. That is looking pretty sweet right there. Okay. So, like the other side, I want to try and flood it so I get a really nice wet joint. Since I can hinge it, you know, what the heck. Since I can, I might as well. Right. Alright, now just angle that back. Flood it. Put some in. Make sure everything is flush. It's super important that everything be flush. Let that be right up against there. Not beyond there. Okay. Then we need to get the glue in here before this gets too damn tight. And it won't let me. Okay, let's get that away from there so I don't get a bunch of glue everywhere. Okay, that's as nice as I could hope to get there. Nice wet joints. Things looking hunky-dory. Right, I'm getting really close to closing this bad boy up. Right. Okay. Now this I'm going to do a little different. I've got my nasty, drooly cement here, which can make a giant mess and ruin everything. My favorite. I just want to put a little bead of that right down the center of this. Okay, and I'm going to do these wet, soak them. Till I get a nice wet joint, I hope. Gotta hope. Right, and get these wet. Get everything wet. Then we'll put this in right where it belongs, right on top of everything. And we juice it up. Get a wet joint or what? Did it already grab? It already grabbed. It is what it is. It's pretty good. It's not exactly what I wanted, but it's good. This. It's just touch low here, but that's okay because that'll help with the lid. A little there, a little low there. I don't mind the top being just a little bit low. It works for me. Okay. Now, what I want to do is get in here and wet out everything. Wet out everything I can. Wet out these bad boys here. There we go. Wet out the back. Now I just sort of move it around, let gravity help me. Okay, I know my little beads of stuff are gonna do what I need them to do. Okay, here we go, it's getting wet. I love it. Got to love it. Doing what I want. A little bit more in there. Okay, now just press that down and get a nice wet joint out of the deal, I believe. Oh yeah, one last area I didn't get. I need to put some from behind. There we go. Now that's looking nice and wet. Okay, at this point, the only thing left to put on is the face. And before I do that, I like to dress the whole edge with a big sanding block. And make sure it's perfectly flat and that everything is exactly the way I want. Yep, I got my top held down just a little bit on each side, which is cool. It's good. It looks good, nice and wet. All the joints came out great. Got my little 632 holes drilled and tapped right in there. Alright, so at this point I have to just leave it alone and come back to it in several hours, because when I sand it, it puts a fair amount of stress on everything and I don't want to loosen any of those joints. Alright guys, this thing is ready to be glued up. The only thing that I'm waiting to find out is whether or not I need to cut slots in it, because once I put the face on it, I can't cut slots in it. But it's been polished. You see right through it. You see all the screw holes and see the port, even though it's way down there. See it like it's right there in front of you. See the recessed port. See all the internals, everything glued up. Super nice. This is really heavy. It's going to be ridiculously heavy. Very nice. Very cool. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait to put the face on it. And the face will be the final thing, the lovely chamfered edges. So, I'm going to go check my email, see if I can glue this thing up yet, or if I have to cut some slots in it first. Alright, late last night, Poofy Minion got with me by email, let me know what kind of case he had, so I looked the case up on Google Images or whatever, and I could see that it was the kind that had the toolless system. That means it has two little pins that when you slide the lever lock, the two little pins want to secure into the screw holes of the drive. So I can't get away with just one screw hole per unit. I have to put 3 extra holes on each side, no big deal. And plus it also has tiny little tabs. I could see that in the picture. So, or it looked like it as best I could see. So here I am, I'm just going to drill the last hole. Like I said, I wanted to keep these videos short. I didn't want to clog it up with a whole bunch of fabrication time. Although we did spend about 8 minutes watching me glue up this reservoir, which I imagine might be time well spent for Poofy Minion to watch. This is mainly for him. And for anybody that likes this sort of thing, shop work and whatnot. Okay, let's swing on over here to the case, okay, and zoom in a little bit so you can get a better view of what I'm up to. Okay, so I've got a nice Antec, I believe this is a P90, I don't know. Client gave it to me so I could build him a custom reservoir for it, so he was a heck of a guy, man. This is like a couple $100 case right here. So, things people will do to get things right? So anyway, on this side of the case, there's little spring tabs with little pressed nubs. and those register the holes on this side. So right when you get to the right point, it'll hold it from this side, and then when you slide the lever locks on the other side, that's when it clamps. Let me bring the camera on over here. I'll show you guys why I do it without the face. The reason I do it without the face is so that I can look right in it. I can really see what's up. That's going to look absolutely amazing in his PC case. It's going to be outstanding. And then on this side, then I can look and see if my screws are lining up, you know. So I've taken the, you know, I hate those lever lock things. They annoy the crap out of me. I always take them off my cases. So anyway, I took it off this case mainly so that I could eyeball it and use it for fitment. That's all I use this case for, basically, is fitting. So if you look closely, you'll see that all my screw holes are lined up dead center in the middle of these holes. That means that when the lever lock goes looking, because it's very precise, the lever lock, there's no range of adjustment. You don't get to slide forwards or slide back. You just slide the lever lock, it grabs the thing, and it slams it right wherever you want. That means that, for instance, if my reservoir was crooked, or if one side was bigger than the other, or if I needed to pull it out more on one side and push it in more on the other, or whatever, I'm screwed. So I have to build everything ultra precise, I mean within tenths of a millimeter, which is why reservoirs are such a pain in my ass. But as far as I know, I'm the only person doing this, so when people want these things, who else are they going to come to? Me, right? So anyway, there it is. It fits the case perfectly. I know that. You can see how short it is. Leaves plenty of room for the plumbing, you know, without it sticking right into something like your pumps or radiators or whatever. You could probably even put a slim pump back right behind it and just have everything hidden back in there. Like I was saying, there's room underneath for lighting. If you look, there's a little gap. That'd be a perfect place to have some lighting on a little shelf or whatever underneath it. I think his has 5 bays, so if he puts a drive or a fan controller underneath it, he could stick some lighting on top of that, light this bad boy up. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is polish all the scratches off of it from slamming it in and out of this case a million times. I got scratches all up now the sides of it now. And I want to polish those off, and then I want to stick the face on it. Okay, I got one last operation to go here. Got everything dialed in, everything's cleaned up, everything's polished. Now it's just a matter of applying this right here and see what happens. Hopefully something good will happen. Because this is acrylic, is 3/8, there's always the issue of it not creeping fully underneath it. I'm going to go around from both sides. So much fun. I love that. I love having to go around from both sides. So how do you do that? Now that I can't get the needle on the inside, right? What I do, make sure this thing has set. I want to do it while it's still kind of loose, and I put my needle in here and I just flood the inside back here a good amount, and then I just run around the inside face to liquefy the inside. And then you pretty much, you get what you get. There's no going back. There's no redos. Short of cutting the whole face off and sanding the whole damn thing down over and over and over. So let's just hope we got a pretty decent result. Obviously you want it to be watertight, but because it's the thing you're staring at, it would be nice if the glue joint was really pretty. But I have no control over it. I've done everything I can. Adjust the edge as best as I know how. And just keep running it around until the solvent is done running. Because you don't want it to pool up anywhere or be visible anywhere. be hanging up anywhere, especially, God forbid, that it just run down the face. That would be the worst. Just leave it alone. And that, my friends, is a reservoir for Poofy Minion, and it's a real little jewel, no doubt about it. It's quite the thing. Just a matter of putting some water in it, making sure everything's everything. But that's it for this video, guys. That's building a reservoir for Poofy Minion. Let me go ahead and, I'm not going to peel the face off, but I just wanted to show you it's got the nice beveled edges all around. I like to leave the paper on the face, if nothing else, you know. Give my client at least one thing. Now you can see that from my solvent in there, it's got a little fog mark. Really nothing I can do about that now. It's too late. So it is what it is. Tiny little fog mark there, but I don't think you'll be able to see it from face on. And the water will make it look wet once it's full anyway. That's the last thing I can do is slap the barbs down on it. Now that I don't have the paper on the back, I can really see what's going on. Give those things a good eyeball as they go down. Make sure those are perfectly straight. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Just gorgeous. There we go. 3/4 barbs. Let's see. Oh, sorry guys. Slammed right into the camera like a dumbass. And then for my final touch, I'll just put a cap on it. Make sure the cap is clean. There's not any weird stuff on it. And there's the cap. And it is ready to go. He actually doesn't need screws. I'm going to supply him. I'm going to supply him screws. I've got a mess of them right here. See, big heads on them, 632 stainless steel. I'll give him 12 of those. But yeah, that's it. She's a dome. Thanks, Poofy. Appreciate the work. Appreciate the support from Mountain Storm through your custom orders for goods, your bespoke reservoirs and gun stuff and grips and all that stuff. That's what I live for, guys. Keep it coming.